another Coloring the Hero episode, and tonight we have Clint
Hello?
Clinton from
Yes.
New,
Thank-
and Clinton has a channel, but he's not posting at this current time with it. And so we're gonna get started by what we're gonna do here. And this one is gonna paint a Four of Wands that he drew the other day, and I'm gonna draw a Four of Wands. Four of Wands just here in a second. Just as soon as we get started here, I'm gonna draw this Four of Wands, and then
yeah.
I'm gonna
In the
paint
moment.
just a moment. And so
Yeah.
what we're gonna do here is we got more intuitive me is here. Hello, and Roots and Waves. Hello, and
Hello, hello?
Clinton is going to tell us about himself, and his nickname is C3PO. And so
Yes.
go on, and I'm going to turn while he's doing that, I'm going to turn my camera down,
Yes.
and
Thanks for having me, by the way.
you're welcome.
And this is definitely a first for me. Obviously, as previously stated, my YouTube channel name is C3PO. Being a Star Wars fan, I actually, uh, he's one of my favorite characters, I guess. Knowing the name and liking the character, I tried to come up with uh, something to match the whole C3PO type thing. So I would just kind of like did a bit of brainstorming. Probably took me about a half hour, an hour to come up with something. Now, obviously, it's Clint's creative clay projects online to kind of suit the C3PO, although I haven't really done any videos yet on my channel. And the initial, I guess, premise to my channel was just to kind of do a little bit of all my hobbies, really, because I mean, clay sculpting is one of them, but it's not all of them. Obviously, I sculpt. Some like from time to times I'll paint. I'll sketch either with pencils or pen. Uh, I guess when it comes to painting, it's like I've got oil paints, I've got acrylic paints, I've got water paints. I'm not really proficient in any of them to a point where I'd ever call myself a professional. But I mean, as a hobby, I just kind of enjoy doing it, whether I'm good at it or not. Like, I mean, I'd like to be, I guess, proficient in one or the other, but I have yet to do that. So, um, I'm 42 years of age, actually. I live currently in Newfoundland. I'm on the west coast of the east coast. It's currently 1:34 actually here. I'm originally from Brampton, Ontario. I lived there for the first few years of my life. Moved down from Ontario to Newfoundland to start school, kinder start, whatever I think they call it here, kinder start, and stayed here till probably grade two. Transferred back to Ontario again until I got to grade five, and then went back here again. And then I was here for a few years, and then my grandfather was sick in the hospital, and that's originally actually why I ended up moving back to Ontario in grade eight, and that was in '96 when he passed away. And I've kind of been back and forth, I guess, my whole life. And I moved here permanently back in 2003 to go to college, and I did that. And I guess I've been kind of back and forth as far as work goes. As far as art, I've been kind of doing that on and off my whole life. How can I put it? I guess I've been pushed back and forth to, like into it because I've always really enjoyed it, but with work and everything else, it kind of gets in the not really gets in the way, but it kind of took me away from it for a while because you know what I mean you get a certain age and well from myself anyway, it was just money was more of a aspect I kind of needed to focus on, and I didn't at the time see a way to
See,
make money with it, and I didn't really see myself as good enough to make money. But obviously, technology and everything has kind of advanced enough to the point where now I guess anybody can get online and kind of, you know what I mean, make a life out of it, and gradually, once you reach point, you can make money out of it. So, I mean, I've pretty much, I guess, planted my boots here, and I've been here for a long time. As far as that's me, anyways. That's pretty much my background and my information. I guess you could say, like pretty much most about me or anything I can think of about me. To I'm not really all that all that interesting. Well, I'm an electrician, I guess, by trade. Haven't really did any extensive work into it because, well, back in 2012, I ended up needing a transplant, and that kind of threw a wrench in the works. And yeah, I've been, I guess, back and forth trying to figure out a means, I guess, to figure out what to do, I guess you could say. And that's where the channel comes in. I guess I figured at some point I'd make videos, and I guess now with Bill here, he's been nice enough to ask me to join him on a live and do a little bit of painting, and so I accept it, and yeah, so here we are, and we had a good conversation there last night for about 2.5 hours, and
Yeah.
he was, I guess you were originally going to, I guess, is it a book that you were going to color from, is it?
You were going to color from the coloring book, but
Yeah, sure.
Clint had a nice drawing that he did, and I thought,
But
well, since
yeah, I decided.
yeah,
Now, mind you, uh, being I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, so it took me a little while, believe it or not, to draw that. I think if I remember correctly, it took me about an hour to an hour and a half. Yeah, just looking at corrupted my morals too. Yeah, yeah, it's good times, good times. It's always nice to meet new people, and I guess this is definitely
new
a new
experience.
experience for me. Yeah, a new experience for me. I guess, always like, I guess, trying new things. You know what I mean? Like you try anything once, and again, if you enjoy it. So
Mhm.
far, this is, like I said, this is my initial, my putting my, I guess, you dipping my toes in the water.
Your
So I
debut.
guess, yeah. So I have to see how it goes. Watching Bill there do his little, he's drawing. Staying crouched. Yeah, you're really getting through it quick, eh?
Mhm.
Coming along though.
Yeah, here we are. We're just kind of working on this, and we got our figures and Jubilee in the back.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks for the compliment there, more intuitive me. I didn't think that I have any effect on anybody. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna go
Oh
put some
yeah.
cows in the background, but then I got to think about how to draw a little cow. But there wasn't cows in here, and
No,
I'm
I
not.
didn't. I didn't notice any cows.
No, but you could put cows in it.
Okay. Oh
It's
yeah,
just
you can put anything you want into it. I seen like the other one you showed me there the other day. The was it the Three of Swords with
yeah. Oh
the
yeah,
UFOs? Yeah, yeah. That was
my three
like
of swords.
not just creative. That was actually, that's pretty cool. It's really nice.
Yeah, my three of
Now, I
swords is
wouldn't have thought of that, but
three
that's
laser
cool.
three laser beams coming down from the sky, and you can see he's been energized and excited by that with golden this golden yellow. Actually, this it's my fluorescent chartreuse that I put around him, and or him or her. But this the faceless one, which I kind of got that idea, the faceless one, from the Tarot of the Abyss. That
Mm. Is that your new deck?
it is one that more intuitive me sent to me for my birthday, and
Well, that was
and
pretty nice and generous.
yeah, it was, and then another one. Actually, I got 3 decks sent to me, and for my birthday, which is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, but it happened. And so the 2 of Swords in this deck has, well, actually, it has no face. And so, anyway, it's here someplace. If you'd like to turn your camera on down to your workplace there, and then I'll and we can get on going here.
Yeah, put it like more intuitively, so you can put one of those Minecraft creepers in it.
What does that look like? A Minecraft creeper?
Well, it's like a blocky game, but I guess it almost looks like it's a straight up like square pillar with like almost four little legs on each corner, and it's got a face on it. It's green, like almost like a cactus, I guess you could say. They're
Oh,
similar to
you mean like
like a cactus with legs, I guess you could say. Yeah,
you mean kind of like Gumby or something like that?
in a way, but just more blocky,
More
like
blocky.
more like cube. Yeah, all like everything's like cubes, kind of.
Oh, okay. I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, I play it with
So,
my son there. He's 13.
yeah.
He
So,
likes playing Minecraft, the creative mode.
yeah. All right. So there's like a few figures over there. Good to go put in, and then maybe that's where I'll put like that cow in the background here.
Mm-hmm. I think a piggy was suggested as well.
Piggy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's come down to where
If it was the 3 of Wands, you could put the 3 little pigs.
3 little pigs. Yeah. Yeah. Because see, here's like one of the ones that I did. My one of them I did.
Oh wow.
And then when I was painting with Elizabeth from the More Intuitive Me, this is what I came up with.
Okay. Are they
Yeah.
jumping from the tower?
I think they're falling from the UFO.
Oh, okay.
They're
Okay, yes,
falling,
now I see it. Now I see it. Yeah.
or they're being beamed up, or they're being beamed up.
Yeah, beam me up, Scotty.
Yep. And so then we have all right. There we go. We're gonna put this little guy over here, kind of like that, and another one over here. Kind of like a anyways. There we go. I'm gonna get started on the painting process, I guess, here. So if you wanna turn your camera down, Clint,
Yeah.
and we're gonna get we can get to see how this paint off how this paint off goes here.
Okay, let's see here. Let's do some adjusting of the. I'm gonna be looking at the ceiling there for a second.
Yeah.
Ceiling that needs to be painted.
So there's a lot of yellow in this thing, and so maybe
There you go. All right.
some radioactive types. Yeah.
Well, I think it's a
Oh,
little sideways there. I'm gonna have to adjust this again.
yeah.
There.
So I want it to be.
Don't want it sideways.
Maybe we'll come down here and have it more yellow towards the base.
Oh,
So
you're really in high gear.
well, you gotta
When you're used to it.
work on being as fast as you can.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here.
And I use the charcoal pencil to do the
Get some brushes out here.
yeah.
And trying to figure out which ones I'm going to use. Probably that flat one there.
in the sky should be just going upwards, and I just kind of went just straight up. So you have all this joyous sunshine reaching up to the sky, but coming up from the ground, and that's kind of what I feel in this moment with this card is all about. And so we're going to come in with this yellow
Oh, I zoomed in a little too much that time. There you go. I think that's good there.
coming in with this
All right.
yellow ochre. I'm going to put it in the base here. So that's kind of like a retaining wall, or it's a kind of hard to tell. So this is the courtyard.
There. Now everything's out of my way.
I couldn't find my eraser, so I didn't bother searching for it. I had it right before I started, but then I did something to it. And now it's too late because I've added the water onto it.
Yeah, I got myself a spray bottle there. I had to pick up. So I had one before, but I can't seem to find it, so I had to get a new one.
Yeah. So you spraying down? Are you doing like a wet on wet approach then?
Or wet on, I guess it's wet on dry. I guess it's
Yeah.
called. Yeah.
Well, I was like thinking in terms of like Bob Ross, who did his as the wet on. It was a sort of wet on wet approach. So he would start
Yeah.
with liquid white stuff, and so the whole canvas was wet, and then from there it was
Oh, he's amazing. He
yeah,
was amazing.
yeah. All right, so we got that's the walls of the okay. All right, let's get moving back on the sky there.
All right, I'm a little slower than. There you go. Now let's get some spray there. All right.
Color.
You got your sky yellow. You're doing a fade, are you?
I'm gonna do what I'm just gonna do what I'm feeling like I wanted to do here. I'm coming in and doing some different colors coming in, kind of maybe like a sunrisey or a sunset or just something that I feel like is a more joyous feel.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're looking at the wands is a fire energy, and so I'm putting that, and that's for fire, for like passion, for like and the four is has a meaning of like stability or celebration, and I just wanted to get it that kind of a feel to it. So
Well, you
having
got
that,
me wetting the paper there. I'm changing my.
yeah. And so we're gonna come in. I think I'm gonna do another one other color and add to this. Maybe we'll add, and then I'm gonna come back over it and add light to it. And so I think I'm going to go with this bright blue, and we'll add some of this bright blue to it. Right, I think, yeah, right into here. I know that it usually with these colors, it makes it kind of like this muddy kind of a color, and it makes it more browny. And I don't really like it that color, but you can see as we lay it on here that it does indeed have this purpley tone to it,
Hmm.
which is kind of what the effect I want.
This
Welcome.
paper really sucks up the water.
Yeah, it does. And this is like a 100% cotton paper that I'm using.
Oh,
And
you got the good stuff.
well, I was given this uh pocket box for my Christmas present from my mother, and so I along with it I added 20 sheets of this 100% cotton paper, and I didn't really know which brand to get, so I just sort of you do like you usually do, you go in and look at reviews and thinking. So it really took me like it probably took me a good 20, 30 hours to see what was the best paint set. But then again, when I did get the paint set, I just called my local art store, which is about 30, 40 minute drive away, and I asked them because on the website they said they had Newton and the set that they
Windsor Newton, yeah.
the Winsor Newton set. But then when I called and asked about it, because I was going to go like right over and pick it up, they said, "Oh well, this is like a day after Christmas," and I said, "Well, unfortunately, everything's all sold out."
Oh
And
yeah, Christmas, yeah.
yeah, and then they said, "Well, we don't really carry that Winsor Newton set anymore, but we are moving to this Van Gogh, the Van Gogh, and which is
Yeah.
and so then I thought, well, I just ordered it. Looked, oh, Van Gogh. This I ordered that, and but also
Um,
in that Christmas season, the prices of that Winsor Newton thing was like fluctuating and so forth, and a lot of the payment of it was contingent. I sold a painting just right after Christmas for $100, and so I was using
oh
that
wow.
those monies to so to pay for it and so forth, and I really couldn't, anyway, that's just the way that is. I sell
Yeah.
a couple paintings a year, and but oh, that sort of came in there. I didn't want to go there, but anyways,
I don't know
so
where this comes from, but I'm wetting with my left hand and painting with my right.
oh, you're like really good. You're just really going at it there.
I don't know if
Oh,
I'd say good, but
so
just trying to keep the paper as wet as I can.
you can like multitask like that. That's pretty awesome. So I thinking, let's just do the backdrop. I need to go back over this and give it some more color, but I gotta let that paper dry a little bit. I think I want that. I think I want those wands to be like this burnt sienna.
I think I'm gonna try to fade it from like a yellow to like a pink,
Yeah.
maybe, if that's possible.
It is kind of a lot easier to do that with watercolors than it is with acrylic paint because it either because they dry so quickly, and then
Yes.
also you know, and things just don't always turn out the way you want them to when you're using the acrylic.
Yeah, because it's like it's like I wet the paper and then I go back and then all of a sudden it's like already dried and it's like, oh,
Yeah,
how?
it's up to dry. Well, and
It's
so then when you
thirsty
are,
paper.
yeah, there's that, and yeah. Okay, Care Bear. What I was thinking about as far as that is concerned is, I just realized that April is coming up, Care Bear, and it is uh National Poetry Month kicking off, and so I'm going to celebrate in that after church chat spot. I'm going to celebrate National Poetry Month, but maybe you'd like to come on that on that Saturday because I already scheduled that live stream for Sunday, and so I'm going to kick it off with some poetry that I'm going to spin in the moment. I'm going to spin poetry in the moment using this. I'm going to spin poetry in the moment using this real life tarot deck. And then we can like write about it. Yeah, so that's what we can do. So we can schedule that you will be my. So that will be the first weekend of the first Sunday of April, and wow, okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Mm.
Let's go with this.
This is real sensitive zooms.
Yeah, we'll use a burnt umber here and make that. With this.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh wow, yours is really coming along.
Yeah, but I'm gonna probably do. I need to darken this stuff up a bit because cause like I say, I couldn't find my gummy eraser, so these things got lines in them that I didn't want them to have in. But maybe we'll just add some other segments into my so I can uh, which one? Which one, Elizabeth? You know? Oh, who? Oh, yeah, I know who sent this one. So this one that is my aunt who told me about her grandmother being a tarot reader. My great grandmother told me she was a tarot reader in real life. That I she gave me a gift certificate, and I used that as a that pay for this. That's where it came from. So essentially, my relative got me.
Oh wow. Yeah, I used to get my tarot read at least once a month by a friend of mine's mother.
Oh,
She
yeah,
used to. She would do it with a deck of cards. She never had an actual tarot card like tarot deck, but she
yeah. I
just
mean,
any deck of cards she would just take and just read do uh do readings. She was
yeah,
really good.
yeah. So that would have been like doing a minor arcana reading, which I imagine that's something that people do. You just pull the. My sound is odd. Okay, so the sound. All right. Well, this might be a Wi-Fi thing. I don't know.
I know I can hear you.
You can hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm not sure how they if they can hear you, but it could be
So
like you said, it could be a Wi-Fi thing.
some of the audio has a little bit of a harsh edge to it, and I think that's what they're talking about.
Uh,
It's sometimes clear and sometimes fuzzy, but it may just be that my phone mic is starting to wear out.
what kind of phone you got?
It's a Motorola stylus.
Oh wow, I wouldn't even know what kind of phone that is. I don't think I've ever seen it.
It's an Android device. It's a made by Motorola. So yeah, playing card divination. Well, let me see. Then I might need to. I might see how this sounds. Maybe it is on my end. I'm going to. Oh yeah, yours looks pretty cool there. You got the different tones of the yellow there, going uh from that darker yellow to a lighter yellow.
Yeah, and I think now I'm gonna try red. I think now.
Hmm.
And I'm attempting the three color fade. Like the sky somehow sometimes at night here actually will get like that. It'll kind of not so much the yellow, but it'll be like that nice kind of orangey color, and it'll fade to like a nice purple and then like a pink. It's really nice.
I
Oh,
see.
that
Yeah.
brush is too big.
Well, your sound sounds okay. If when I plugged it in on my is yeah. So yeah. I'm on the delay, so I'm gonna unplug this thing from my ear and. All right. Well, okay. We can put that darker color up here. I guess that's what's happening.
Okay, I gotta get some red on my palette here.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's come back up to the sky again, and
All right, now look at that. She's dried already. Didn't
mm-hmm.
take long.
So you're using what, some Cranston paper? That's I think wood pulp, if I remember right. That's what they in their watercolor paper. Because I paint
Was
on
that?
that. The Cranston the Cranston XL, I think is what it is. That's their student grade
Yeah.
paint. Yeah, because I like bought I have a couple of those tablets, some of them with giant
Okay.
sheets and
Yeah, because I actually I cut it into 4 pieces,
yeah.
4 equal parts, and it's like, well, I get this here size, which
Hmm.
is perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I with this watercolor paper, I cut this thing in half. I do have a paper cutter because I can't imagine going through. I can't imagine doing anything crafty or anything without having a paper cutter, and having done the whole other method of straight edge and razor blades and stuff like that, which I certainly have done that multiple times.
Yeah, I think is that the one you put the paper under it and you just
Yeah, I have one
slide
of those.
the
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the slidey one. I have one of those slidey ones. But I was just thinking in terms of, you know, the other method of just using a straight edge and a razor blade to cut paper, and
Okay.
it's not which isn't very precise at all. Well, good night, Ange.
Well,
Oh, it is late
yeah.
over there.
Good night, Ange. I didn't
Yeah.
notice.
Well, she was falling asleep in the live stream, so obviously that she needs to go to bed. And,
Yes, yes, yes. Sleep is good.
mhm. Which you don't seem to get very much of it. You're kind of like Moon Scarab, who doesn't sleep very much either.
No, I'm like a night owl myself. Like I when it comes to sleep, it's few and far between.
Hmm. Has it always been that way?
It's been like that since my transplant, kind of a thing.
Oh, so what? I forget which organ did you have transplant? Was that spleen?
Liver. But I do not have a spleen though. They removed that after they did the liver transplant
Hmm.
because I was bloating up. I guess because my spleen was also enlarged along with the liver because I
Hmm.
had, I guess, what's called portal hypertension,
Yeah.
and uh, it caused like back pressure to my spleen and ended up like my spleen was that big. It was like it's supposed to be just like your liver up underneath your ribs,
Hmm.
and my spleen was like hanging down below my ribs by about maybe like 4 or 5 inches.
Wow.
Like, yeah, I had to stay away from contact sports and stuff like that there because it was enlarged since I was 12.
I see.
Right, it's CF related sclerosis or sclerosis of the liver, so CF related liver disease.
Hmm. Well, welcome, Miss Tarot D. I need to have you on my show sometime, Miss Tarot D. We're doing one of the coloring the tarot, and my email address that anything might be coming from is the@gmail.com. And so if you were interested in being a guest, I'd really love to have you on. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. So we can do. Well, Miss Tarot D, I'll send you an email from that address, and I will choose a. Well, I think why I have you on the area here. I'll choose um, I'll choose a card for you. Well, you know what? How about I haven't done a major arcana card for a while, Miss Tarot D. How about this one? How about this one? I'm gonna just sort of pencil that in there, and Miss Tarot D as being the Lover's card. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that, and so that's a great choice. Great. So I mean, that's where where everything paused for the longest period of time. So I figured that is okay. All right. Well, we could do the Empress, but I'll do it from a standpoint of a drawing because I don't particularly like the Empress in that. Um, okay, Mr. O, D is the Empress then. I will pencil that in. Yeah. Mr. O, D May. All right. For May. Okay. All right. Well,
There you go. I think I'm done the sky finally.
that looks really cool. That looks really neat there. Look at that. Yeah. It's got a lot of different energy in it. My fancy date book, yeah. All right. Well, let's do the battlement. Put this white to it.
All right, now I figure out what I'm gonna do with the. I know there's flowers in here, and there's like ribbons.
Yeah.
I guess I'll stick with red for the ribbons, but I'll keep that dry on dry so it's a little more opaque.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not gonna paint any of the ribbons in there. I might put some ribbons in. Because you have those sketching skills, which makes it uh, which means that automatically you have a you'll have a better command of making doing images and painting than folks that sketching was like for me. I failed sketching in high school art, and then a little bit in I tried drawing that younger age. It was not a I was a drawing student failure. So
No, no one's ever a failure.
yeah, I think
You just needed time. That's all.
yeah, time. That's right. Because I talked a little bit about with you last night about this, where I wanted to paint. All my life I wanted to paint, but then I just said, well, I can't draw, so therefore I can't paint. And then I just said, well, I guess I can't be a painter then because I can't draw. And then I got to be like in my mid 40s, or whatever that was, and I thought, well, you know what? I'm never going to learn how to draw, so let's start painting. And that's
Yeah.
how that happened. It's like, and that just sort of took off from there. Mm.
And now you're better at painting than I am.
I'm
You're
sure
definitely you're definitely good.
you give yourself some time, man. You'll be because you've been, as you said last night, that you've been doing sketching and stuff since you were like what, in the second or third grade, or since you were like 8 years
Yeah.
old. So
Yeah.
you've been a natural. You've been doing that forever, and then you also have that skill. Welcome, Anna. You have that skill where you were a semi-professional tattoo artist,
Yeah.
and so
I did that for about 2 or 3 years.
yeah. And so that actually you did that, and maybe you didn't charge very much, but nevertheless, that puts you as an artist into the professional class, because in my book, if you draw any money at all from your skills as an artist, that puts you into the realm of being a professional artist. Now, you may not be a professional like an Andy Warhol,
No.
or one of those guys, because but see, those people, or they're in a different class altogether.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. 100%.
You know, and but because but that's who they are, and you are Clint, and you are the best artist that. Yeah, yeah, Miss Tarody, we can do that. We'll chat soon. Mm.
Actually, speaking of tattooing, earlier on, actually before we got on, I had a phone call from a friend of mine in Saskatchewan, and that's how we met. Actually, it was through my cousin, and I did his first tattoo.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh, it's funny how coincidences happen, or sometimes things
yeah,
like that happen.
yeah. I never got a tattoo, but I wanted one, but it was I could never figure out what I wanted to have tattooed on me forever. And I still am in that state that I just don't know, so it don't matter. So it means that I ain't getting a tattoo ever. So
Yeah, they're definitely forever.
yeah, yeah. So that was something I never figured out, and so I just thought, well, that's just not gonna be me. When I look like when I was like when I first saw your face there, I thought of a another Canadian guy that I used to follow his channel. I think it's Joe Robin something or other, who was a contestant on pretty much the only reality show that I like, which is Alone.
Okay.
And Alone, I believe, is a product of Canada, and the History Channel. I think they publish it, but it's most all. I think, yeah, Canada has I think it's a Canadian idea. And have you ever seen that show?
What was it called?
Alone.
Alone. I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever watched it, but it does sound like it has a familiar sound to it. Was
So
it a what type of show was it? Like, was it a survival, a reality, or a
yeah,
series?
it was. I saw that like nine. I think it was like 11 or 12 seasons. I saw the first nine. I haven't seen any. If I wanted to watch it on my TV, then I got to pay for the whole season, which are they're like $20 a pop.
Oh wow.
And so and since I don't have cable TV per se, I do have cable TV coming in the house through cable. The phone, the TV, and the internet comes through a cable, but I don't have more than the basic TV package because the only
Yeah, I don't watch TV myself either much.
yeah, my mom watches TV. But she likes PBS, and so we just got the basic channels, and it's like the only there's like it's like the Western channel, and it's like channel 12 on down to like 2, and so and it doesn't include any, there's no ESPNs, there's no sports. I don't really watch sports myself, and so it's no HBO, no Showtime, it's no movie channels or anything like that. It's just the basic.
Yeah, basic cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
watch hockey. That's probably the only sport I watch.
yeah. Well, what I like in sports is I love the Olympics in both the
Mm.
summer and the Winter Olympics, and I think probably one of my favorite Olympic sports is like the snowboarding and the skateboarding,
Okay.
and like getting stuff like that. And I'm gonna make this arch in the back with some bright blue back here, and there we go. And maybe we'll come up with that blue back in here. And anyway, that so like those kind of sports, and so like when I was a kid, I would go over to my grandmother's house because they didn't have TV. He didn't have TV. I didn't have TV growing up,
Yeah.
and and so if I wanted to watch TV, then I'd walk the mile and a half down to my grandma's house, and then I would watch TV on at her house, and so she watched a lot of NASCAR. She
Oh.
watched a lot of, yeah, and so I watched a lot of NASCAR and stuff like that, and so watching NASCAR always reminded me of my grandma, and then looking like I have some clouds in here, which is kind of pretty cool. And so then now when it's like these days when I sometimes I watch the show. I watch this sport that comes out of Ecuador. And essentially if you go look up gravity kart racing, well that's what it is. They have these two-person go-kart with no motor on them, and they go up on the top of the mountains in Ecuador, and then they go down on the highways, and they're just doing a highway races that
Oh my
are
god, that sounds
yeah,
dangerous.
it's not, and so these vehicles are going like 110 kilometers per hour, which is
Oh
like
my.
down here it's like 50, 40, 50, 60 miles per hour. If the and depending on the road conditions, and because those roads are not always really super smooth, and so they'll go
Mm.
from a good patch of road down to almost like a gravel road, or they'll go going up the hills, and then when they go start going up hills, and then they hop out of their carts, and they push and they
Oh
push.
wow.
And so these races, they last roughly 15 to 30 minutes long, and so they're going, if it's like 60 kilometers an hour, that's like 60 kilometers, and like, or whatever, it's like 30 kilometers, or 15, 20 mile long race. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's really exciting, super exciting. I think when I
I
come up
wouldn't
to,
want to get in. I wouldn't want to crash.
yeah, well, I've never actually seen them crash because they're really low to the ground.
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
and so it's really fascinating. And anyways, that's something that I really like watching. And then there's another channel I like to watch occasionally, and it's called is it Full Throttle? Oh, it's a guy who's racing matchbox cars. He's got like a
Oh,
track, and
okay.
he narrates these races like he was a professional wrestling narrator. And grab full throw something. I can't remember the name of it offhand, but I know that I have referenced it in my in community posts, both the gravity kart racing, and I think it was like Full Throttle Racing, or I don't know. I know it's a
Yeah.
fun fun show. And
I'm gonna have to look it up and have a look at it.
yeah,
Sounds interesting.
I don't really watch it very often, but when I do, it's like, oh yeah, because like remember, oh yeah, I remember how much I like watching that show, watching the racing of those those the Matchbox. And then also you like then that other occasional thing of watching when they strap a GoPro or a little mini camera to a cat and see
Oh
where
yeah.
the hell it
See its
goes.
daily travels.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's like one of those channels where the guy's got a real good uh uh he's a great storyteller, and he's telling these stories, and they're just fantastic stories. And all right. Well,
It's like,
everybody, yeah.
I was gonna say, it's like Snoop Dogg narrating like the Nature Channel.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Should we have these people be, let's see, what do we want, a bright red yeah, there we go. Hmm, looks like everyone has gone to bed, Sharon. Late. And red roofs and so forth. And
There's 3 trunks.
there we go. Done here. I think it looks pretty cool. I wish I had some in my golden fluorescent fluid acrylics. Some blue. White.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some of those too myself. Some of those golden acrylics, because
Yeah, these ones are good because I add them into the watercolors because these are fluid acrylics. I think these are like, I get them for like $7 or $8 each. And so I have like three of these, and fluorescent pink, fluorescent chartreuse, and fluorescent orange. And then it gets some accents to your, and also it's also the other thing about using these fluorescent colors is that um,
oops.
people can't copy your art when you use them, because
Yeah.
colors don't show up in like scans or anything like that. And then if you're doing
Oops. Almost messed that up. There you
mhm. All right, what do we got going on over here? Some purpley walls.
go. There's that.
And then
Now, wash my brush. Oop. It's either my phone moving or I'm moving the. Oh,
That happens sometimes. I have my
there.
camera mounted on a microphone stand, and yeah.
There.
But I think I'm gonna go and switch to maybe a little bit more with open rain in the sky there. I really like the effect it's having. Though it looks kind of like the festivities have now changed from being like rain coming in and
Mhm.
that, but it gets a little bit of a depth to this.
There. Put some purple flowers, I guess. I'm thinking.
Mhm.
That's a flower. I think there's. Oh wait, these are grapes. I think, aren't they? I think these are grapes. They're going to be grapes if they're not.
Yeah, right. I forgot the banner. I'm just gonna put that in here, and yeah, thing these different colored things in here. I'm not gonna like. I'm just gonna put this in like it's a banner. That's your signs of your abundances and everything else in your life.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go in here using that green. Well, actually, it's not gonna work because it's everything is all fully colored out. So, yeah, let's go move to move to a different palette here.
Pardon?
And I'm moving to acrylics paints right now. Mm, Where's my brushes at that I want to use?
Oh, intuitive me is taking off. Good night.
Good night, Elizabeth. Because she's down on the other side of the United States. Clear, like completely opposite of where I'm at. I remember one time it was like, all right, Care Bear, good night. Just send me an email and I'll set you up for the next Sunday afternoon's live at 12:21 p.m. I'm sorry, it's an oddball number, but that's you know my channel is based on angel numbers, and so I'm putting it in as an angel number.
Speaking of angel numbers, the past like 4 or 5 days, I've like every time I look at the clock, it's either 3:33 or 12:34.
Yeah, yeah, that's happens to me all the time too. That's
Yes.
kind of where the basis of 999 show came from because it was seeing angel numbers all the time.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's, I see, I see angel numbers. Was that
Yeah,
movie?
and that happens frequent.
What was that movie? It was like these I see dead people.
Oh, oh my God, is it not Mel Gibson? Is it Mel Gibson?
No, it wasn't. It was
Is it
it
Signs or Sign or the Sign or something like that? Is it?
was the guy. It was the guy who did the guy who did Die Hard, the Die Hard movie.
I don't know why I'm thinking Mel Gibson. Maybe it's not Mel Gibson. I'm bad with certain actors and actresses' names.
Yeah. All right. Well, good night, Karen. Yeah.
Oh,
So
good night, Karen.
yeah,
Bruce Willis. There you go. Yes, that's it.
Bruce Willis. Yes, exactly. It was Bruce Willis
I don't know
who
where
did.
I got Mel Gibson from.
But I think you got the title right, 'cause I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's Signs. Yeah,
Well,
the little boy.
Signs was a Mel Gibson film, and that one was about like these
The
aliens.
aliens. Yeah.
and then he was Mel Gibson was playing a priest that had lost his faith, and yeah. So you were born in the Catholic Church, and whereas I converted, but a lot of the things that I was like thinking, why did I convert to Catholicism when I was in my mid-20s? Well, most of it came from going to the Holy Lands and
Oh,
having.
okay.
You said you had an experience. You talked about an experience that you had um, where well, the experience I had like when I was in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre was like a voice into my head that, but it didn't really say, but it was like a voice, but it was also like a hand that came down on me that said kneel.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't the only one in that, because I was in a group. That wasn't the only one who had that experience. Lots of
Oh,
other
so it was
people.
like a group
Yeah,
experience.
it was a group. It was a group thing, and lots of other people had that same experience in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And there was like kneel, and
Oh, wow.
yeah,
I would have been like in shock. I would have been like, "Oh my god."
yeah, and so and and then I never anything because that was like you were talking about. Was it your girlfriend who pulled somebody
Her
inside the house,
brother, yes.
pulled her brother
Yes,
in?
yes. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
living in Nova Scotia. She was young. I can't remember exactly how old, but she was young. I think she was waiting on her mom to get home from work because they had got back from school, and it was like a voice in her head like told her to grab her brother, and then she kind of like was like, what, like she questioned the voice, and she's like, what, like what, and then like before she knew it, like it was almost like she involuntarily grabbed him because she was in the front door of the house and he was just standing out on the front step, and she just kind of like involuntarily just like grabbed him and hauled him inside the house, and then like lightning struck right in the front step, like right
yeah,
in front of the front step, like where he had just recently been.
mhm,
And she said after that she was just so dumbfounded and like, what the heck, like if I wouldn't have done that, like he would have been struck by lightning.
yeah. Well, there's a guy in my I had on Wednesday nights I do a writing group on Zoom, and the people that have gone to it were. I started it when I was in Seattle. I started a writing circle group, and these were the same people. This was like in 2010, and so they're like the same people I started the writing group with in 2010, and then we met again in on Zoom, like starting in like 2020 when Zoom became
The
popular.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And but anyway, one of the fellows who's in that group, he was struck by lightning when he was like a teenager, and it left a purple mark on his body, and so everybody calls him Purple Mark. And he's like
That's it.
like I think he's like mid. He's almost 70 years old now, and but
Yeah.
yeah,
The supernatural or the paranormal is definitely an interesting, the spiritual world, I guess you could say, is quite an interesting topic or subject.
yeah. And so we put this fluorescent blue in here to make it look like there's the berries and everything else. And, the finishing. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah, and so like my mom had an experience, and this is a long time ago. And she was driving, and there was a voice that told her turn right now, and then she turned. She just obeyed, and then there was an oncoming car that was traveling in a 100 miles an hour in a, like a 40-mile zone, or 45-mile zone, and if she
Yeah.
would have hesitated, and she didn't even see him, but if she saw him in the after effect, this guy just zoomed on by, and so she obeyed that voice, and then she, because he might have been like killed or something in a car accident, and
Oh my god.
yeah, she had another experience like that just right after her dad died, and practically in the same spot, on the highway, and her dad visited her, um, and then it was just filled with joy and wonderment and so forth. And then he faded away, and then he was gone.
It's definitely like stuff like that. Like happens a lot more frequent than a lot of people.
Care to admit,
Know.
yeah.
Yeah. Some people try to play it off as coincidence, but I don't really truly believe in coincidence.
hmm There we go. My little guys are starting to look kind of joyous here. I think got the need some more. Let's put this. I got all the color on here, so I'm meant to use it, right?
Yeah.
I really don't like wasting paint, and so I'll just put this pink right on the retaining wall here. Maybe a little bit coming down here as well.
There you go.
Um,
I had to break out the tiny little brush to get these
mhm.
little tiny leaves.
So you live up in like Bigfoot territory, don't you? Isn't there a lot of Bigfoot up there?
I personally never seen any Bigfoot, but I've definitely been in the woods and heard some pretty interesting sounds. Because here in Newfoundland, the there's a lot of wildlife, and like hunting is obviously a way of life for a lot
Yeah,
of people, and there's a lot of time spent in the woods and in the forest, and there's definitely like vast like forests, and the forest industry itself is I guess pretty big here as well.
yeah,
The was it DFO, or they call it the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, is another one.
yeah. Hmm. All right. So what are we looking at here? I didn't put the little. Well, I guess maybe I'll put some little like flowers on the wands here as well. Supposed to be green, but it doesn't matter, right? Just what colors I have available here.
Mm, oh,
Mhm. Goes and add to that 3D effect by having stuff on here. Yeah. Mhm.
there we go.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, where'd that go? I know I had it here somewhere. Okay, I got it. I had it in my mouth apparently, the paintbrush.
you
I
can
was looking for
time.
my little liner brush.
That's like losing your glasses on top of your head.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I've lost my glasses on top of my head.
Where are they? Yeah. Anybody see my glasses? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, go look in the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh, there they are.
Well, then how come I can't see? Like, why is everything looking so dim in here? Let's turn the lights on. Oh shit, the lights are already on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, as I was getting older, I didn't have that experience when I was younger, but I remember
No.
I think I was like 38 or 39 when I bought my first magnifying glass, and and I was still using that. I learned bartending in my late 40s, and I was amazed that kind of that I wanted to do it, and because I was uh, pretty much kind of saw when I started working at that casino, and I saw when I was working as a food and beverage cashier,
Oops.
and then I just kind of you go and get your money to bank. It's the casino bank, and then I would occasionally I would be turning my bank in, and I would see the bartenders getting off shift, and then they would be having their chips count down. And I thought, shit, these guys make a lot of money. Sorry about language there. Oh, they make a lot of money, and I thought, oh yeah, I could use some, and so I started, but it really kind of started a bit before that. It started when I lived up in Seattle, and I would go to this pub for occasionally, or hang out with friends. We go, when I was working in that door store as a bookkeeper.
Mm.
I would go there, and then you see, and I look at the servers, and I'm thinking, if everybody's tipping this amount of money like I'm tipping here, how much money are these people making? And I'm thinking, and I started adding that stuff up in my head, and I think, geez, these people are making more than accountants are making, or like, not like, if you're like
Yeah.
a if you were like a learn on the job type of a accountant, like I learned bookkeeping on the job, and
Mhm.
not that I didn't. I had like one accounting class, but it was just enough to not know anything, but it wasn't enough to to do anything. And but nevertheless, it
Yeah.
was there was that sense of that thinking, oh man, these guys make a lot of money. And then I was saying, I wonder if I could do that. And so that
Yeah.
thought first entered in my head when I was like, I don't know, like 37 or 38. And but anyways, and that's kind of how that began. And then I got that job as a food and beverage cashier. And then I had told the person who interviewed me, who her stepson was in my class in high school, in all from like first grade through 12th grade.
Oh, okay. So you grew up together?
Yeah, yeah, I grew up, and so she knew me, and knew my family, knew everything, and all that stuff, because it's like things go back generations. My mom grew up in this area, and my dad didn't, but there was just all those family things. You grew up in an area, and everybody knows you, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Small town.
small town, yeah. There we go. And anyways, and so I mentioned that I wanted to do that, but then I did my job very well. When you do your job really good,
People notice.
they notice, and they don't want to promote you because they want to keep you right in that spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want to keep you in
Don't
that
want to
spot.
lose you.
Yeah, because they don't want to lose you, and so uh and then I had this opportunity. I would go and volunteer to work with banquets, and
Okay.
banquets like really fast pace. They usually when I worked with banquets, they were all done with a banquet, and it was just tearing down the event. So they would be like, because it was a casino, they would have concerts and stuff like that, and so you were tearing down whatever it was, and putting chairs
Whatever
away.
the event was. Yeah.
Yeah, and stuff like that, and then I I got to know everybody who was working on those crews, and then eventually they asked if I wanted to to do a banquet. I started like serving with a banquet, but to serve as a bartender. So, and I said, yeah, I want to do that. And so they started cross training me as a banquet bartender, and
Mhm.
and then that was like my first opportunity and with it, and it was like I was serving a party. It was a Christmas party. I was serving, and everybody was drinking like Fireball and stuff like that, and trying to keep up with it, and these people got so smashed, and I was supposed to, like be more diligent and not serving them, but I thought, well, they're paying. I mean, if they're staying here in the casino hotel, then what difference does it make if they like drink until they like pass out?
Yeah, if they're not getting aggressive.
But I know that's just the law. I do understand. There was the law. You had because to work in the casino and the food as a food and beverage worker, you had to take both the food handling class and the alcohol service. So you had to have
Yeah.
an alcohol service permit, which I think every 3 years you renewed that one, and every 4 or 5 years food handlers. But anyways,
Yeah.
I quit for what I thought was going to be a better job, a different job someplace, and then I ended up coming back to the casino just a few months later. Like, if you quit, you have to sit out for 6 months and then you can come back in. And so
Oh wow.
sat out for 6 months and then I came back in. But it's not necessarily quit, because a lot of people, they lose a lot of their staff because they get fired. And most people who get fired from the job, they get it because they they take too many unplanned days off, so they get it for absences.
Uh,
Which is a very
yeah.
common, way that people would. Anyways, and so then I came back in as a server, and a server on the graveyard shift is a cocktail server, and so and then from there I took a job as a bar back, and then after about a year and a half I got a job as in the casino as a bartender, and it was actually truly it was amazing how much money a bartender makes.
Yeah. Tips are they can be pretty good.
Yeah, they can be pretty good. And being how I am, I am kind of charming, though I'm not, and I'm not afraid of hard work. And so there is that. I'm not afraid to work hard, and I'm kind of charming, even though I'm kind of
Yeah.
an introvert. And so, but that actually, I'm not a multitasker. I know that, and they gave me a job anyway, knowing that I wasn't a multitasker.
Mm.
You do have to be a bartender. You do have to, or actually even a wait staff person.
Somewhat multitask. Yeah.
You have to be able to multitask, and I'm not. That's not a skill that I have. I mean, I can multitask
Acquire.
a little bit. You do the same task, you do different tasks over and over again fast. That's
Mm.
how, but that idea, I missed a lot of things because I have migraines, and I'm
Oh, I
all,
hate migraines. I used to get them too. I still do actually
yeah,
from
I got them.
time to time.
I got them at the casino. I got them bad because I was getting them like 5 days a week. I was getting
Well,
migraines.
being around all that smoke and stuff too, right? Was probably was a bit of a factor.
That was a factor, and a lot of people work there, did get migraines, and they oftentimes didn't last for more than a couple of years. It, it I eventually did leave, but it was such a hard job to leave because of the money. Because you get those golden handcuffs on you, and
Yeah, it's like the money is so good. It's like you try to force yourself to
stay.
stay.
Yeah, yeah, and so and but you know, it wasn't like I could always go back. That's the thing is I left the door open that I could always go back. I never cashed out my 401k or anything like that. And so just one of those kind of things. And
Yeah. Well, that's good though.
you know, it just still sits there. It still sits and draws interest or whatnot. It's not adding anything to it. Yeah. I think this looks pretty cool. It's almost done, I think.
Oh wow.
How you
Yeah.
the
I'm
oh,
coming along. I'm a little slower, but
yeah. Well, I
it,
am put some water in here. We could put this stuff into the um, what's this here? We'll just put it into the skyline.
there we go. Trying to put
And
everybody's shawl. I think they're called whatever. The shawls a little different colors.
yeah, there we go. Add some light into this thing from those. But yeah,
Oh, I forgot their those things on their head. That's what do you
late.
call them?
They're like
Green there. Yeah, it's like
they're flower
I
things.
forget the name of them. Yeah, it's like flowers and like leaves and stuff. Yeah.
Because of their pagan kind of experience. They're, or not necessarily pagan. They're kind of the peasant wear. And well,
Let's see.
let's add a bunch of light into this sky and make that so it's not completely watercolor. It's now a
It's mixed media.
mixed media because you can go from watercolor to acrylics, but you can't go from acrylics to watercolor.
You know, I guess that's because of the transparency and the.
Well, because you can't, because it seals up that spot, and you can't add any more watercolor.
Oh yes, 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 yeah.
Yeah, you even try. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably just won't work as well.
Mhm. There we go. Come up in here, but it's good for adding light. But nevertheless, I did that for a while, and I learned in my late 40s, and I got my first bartending job when I was 50. And, and so, yeah, but I was, I was getting in trouble for alcohol overservice all the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sure they loved you.
Yeah, they love me. Yeah, I was like, and then there was all these people that like got me in. I mean, I can still see it's just the ones that.
Jealous of you.
No, no, no. These were my patrons uh who when they came up to the bar, they seemed as though they were like sober, but then when they went back to their table game, they were sloshed, and then
uh,
so then the security goes and they cut them off, and then they go back. Oh well, who's the one who served this guy? And they oh it was Bill. Bill served him, and then I
that dude.
get hauled up in front of like a tribunal or something like that. Bill,
Yeah,
you didn't see. We could clearly see on the tape that this guy was intoxicated. How come you couldn't see him? You know,
it's like I'm
and
busy here
he seemed
trying
fine
to
to
get
me.
through a bunch of people.
And then when he was like sober or whatever, he never tipped, and I was like, oh well, that's like that. But
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, they're drunk people tip better.
yeah, 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 and yeah. That's right. They do. They kind of do sometimes, and
And they're a little more forgetful sometimes. I've
yeah, yeah.
had I've never bartended myself, but I've had friends who bartended, and there's sometimes they said that someone would come up to get a drink, and you give them whatever tell them what the cost was or whatever the price was, and they'd hand you like a 50, and then like be like keep the change and walk away, and then come to find out they thought that they gave you a 20,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's like, but they were just too drunk to look at the what bill it was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like when I was still bar backing, but I would be filling in all the time. There was this one guy I remember, and I think that he came in and I think he was on acid or something like that because he had a chaperone. He had a chaperone. He had a sober chaperone with him, and the guy was and he eventually got like after 2 days he got cut off, but he
Oh,
would like
geez.
yeah, he was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's right. By Sunday, and then but he would pay with $100 bill on a $5 bill and give you the remaining balance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so like that I got like I got like 3 or 4 $95 tips off of him.
I guess it's a
And
casino too, so you got some people that are going there that like they're loaded and they just don't care.
yeah, yeah, that's right. And then what happens and it because then what happens is that this is the dealers being the car dealers. We talked about all the time how they would be reading in the paper and they say, "Oh, you remember that guy? Oh yeah, he's in prison now." And he was apparently he was like he was just coming in, he was in prison. Yeah, he like stole a but he robbed a bank someplace and then or whatever,
Spent it all here.
or he was a drug dealer or something like that, and then they were
Yeah.
that was just like commonplace. Oh yeah, oh he was such a good tipper too. Oh, it's too bad.
Yeah. No wonder. Yeah.
It's too bad he's in prison, but that was like, that was just the way it was, and so the guy with a, he was like, "Hey, if you drink a Heineken," and 'cause that's the beer I had available that it was like Bud Light or Heineken or Modelo or Corona. Those were
Corona. Yeah.
the bottle. Those were the bottle choices, and then he would buy the beer, and then he would just like stand right in front of me, and then he would just slam the whole thing down, and like
Oh
30
God.
seconds, it's gone, and then he would he would get another one, and then of course that wasn't like all on the same $100 bill, on the same $100 bill, so you got like a $90 tip or something like that on it, and
Yeah. Oh
that
my
was
God.
it was like an amazing experience. Now, when after the casino, I went to a restaurant and I didn't have, and people didn't tip like that in restaurants, and I got a couple $100 tips because like I said, I am kind of charming and I was able and attentive and being attentive to people's what they were looking for and that goes a long ways and
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like the fastest server. I wasn't fastest in any way, shape, or form, but that sometimes wasn't really the thing that was the necessary thing. It was more necessary
No, it's
to be
definitely kindness.
yes, to be that good servant and but yeah.
Yeah, it pays to be nice.
Hmm. Well, because
Literally. Literally.
not everybody was because a lot of times the older servers and the people who done it all their lives and they've been a server for 50 years, or whatever, they're like 60 something years old and they've been a server since they're teenagers and oftentimes they didn't necessarily have that great attitude, or they would have an attitude of like your tip.
Yeah, bringing their problems to work.
you're tipping me a quarter on a $70 $70 or whatever
Order.
50, whatever and it was just like then you'll go hand the coin back to him as obviously you need this more than I need it.
Yeah.
And which always piss the people off, and you don't get out of that, people, because it comes off as you're coming off as being super confrontational, and and so you're giving back that negative energy that they gave you, and
Yeah.
you're giving that fu back to them, and then that
They don't like
and
it.
you don't like it because they gave you that fu, and you're giving it back, and then you magnify it back to them again, which makes it worse, and then so you know
Yeah,
and
they definitely don't like that.
I always like at the casino. I was always the people who gave you the shittiest tips were generally people who ordered cognac, and then they wanted
Oh, okay.
and then they wanted it mixed with something, or they ordered like they would be with their buddies and they order like 10 shots of Patron, and then with and they wanted a beer back with that, and I'm thinking, okay, all right,
All
but
right. Yeah.
and then of course they get really pissy with you when you cut them off because they think, oh, I'm sorry, I think you've had enough to drink already, and
Yeah. Like it's like my boss won't let me serve you anymore, sir.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Add some more layers down onto here. I think we're gonna put some of that yellow on top of the surface there to get it more greeny. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
And,
got three brushes apparently on the go now. One for color, one for water, one for.
hmm.
Oh, be nice if I put paint down this, I guess. Which I thought I had.
This is looking pretty well too. Gets the green in there amongst the blue and pinky color.
Try to make it look like there's some kind of shadow in this bush.
hmm hmm. So other than the electrician thing, what is your most interesting job you do?
Uh, probably the electrician, I'd say. I mean, I've
Yeah.
done many jobs. I did moving for like probably like 4 or 5 summers because I would go away when I moved here. I'd go away and work up in Ontario and then come back and draw unemployment and then
hmm
for the winter and then go back in the summer again and work all summer and then I did that back and forth for about like 4 or 5 years until I got into college
I see.
because I kind of didn't want to be just kind of idle sitting around. I had to do something while I waited for college to accept me
Yeah.
because the program I was in, the list for it was real long, like years long. And I was like, oh my God. Then they finally expanded their college, the buildings and their courses. And then they ended up actually expanding the electrical course in the town I was in. So I was like, oh, well, that's a bonus. 'Cause that
hmm
means I can apply there. So I just transferred all my application. My application, I mean, I just brought it, transferred it over, and ended up getting in the next year. So that kind of worked out in my favor.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was pretty.
like remembering during like COVID and people, because one thing was they were a lot of the businesses were talking about with the food industry of how short they were on staff. Well, I kind of
Mm,
got sense of why people were short on staff, because I knew a lot of servers, and actually servers and bartenders who switched careers, and they switched. Some of them switched into becoming electricians, or they went in and they started like selling financial products and stuff like that.
I thought you were
Or
gonna say drugs for a second.
no, I was just thinking of that I'm sure some probably did, but if you want to like continue working someplace, then you may not want to
Yeah,
bring
put that on
yourself.
your resume.
Yeah, well, because
That's definitely.
it's hard to get a job if you went to jail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Especially depending on like your charges. I've never
mm,
like knock on wood. I've never been to jail. I've never had that experience in my life. I've
yeah,
I've got a lot of friends uh, who've been in jail, and I actually have an older brother, and I think that's probably one of the reasons uh, I was, I guess, on the path I was on, and managed to stay out of jail was because my I have an older brother, 6 years older than me, and when I was younger, my father, we would do a lot of visiting of my older brother in jail. And he'd always stress to us, he's like, you know what I mean? He's like, this is not what you want to be doing when you get older. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, this is not a life for you,
yeah,
right? You got to do better.
hmm
So
yeah. It's like one of my
it's not
well,
fun.
yeah, one of my friends, and my Seattle friend, she um one of her sister got murdered in a armed robbery.
Oh, shit.
And this was like a long time ago. And then she had a niece that also got like murdered too, and it was like like they're from like somewhere else around
Yeah,
the area. But
that's crazy.
it was pretty crazy, and it was just pretty brutal. It was a pretty brutal murder too. And that was about being in the wrong, maybe in the wrong place at the wrong time, or you were.
Yeah,
But there was like with the niece that got murdered, it was more that there was drugs involved, and hard
yeah.
drugs involved.
That's usually, yeah, that's a big, I guess, something that would definitely lead to that. And actually, that now that you said that, it just actually reminded me of a time when before my transplant. Actually, me and my mother were up in Toronto, and we're staying at this hotel that was not too far from Dundas Square. I forget what I think it was. I don't know if it was a Best Western or what it was, but it was not far from Dundas Square. And then this hotel, like about a block or two away, there were like restaurants. There was like I think like a pizza place and a place like an Indian like eatery. There was like some Chinese and like Asian like restaurants in that area, and I got hungry one night, and I decided I'd go get something to eat at the. I didn't even know really what I wanted to eat at the time. I just said whatever I walk by, if it smells good or if it seems like you know what I mean it looks good, I'll try it. So I ended up walking down 2 blocks. Uh, like I said, this was around like probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night,
Hmm
and come across this one place, this Indian eatery, and I'm like, oh, I'll try this because it looked kind of good. They had the pictures of the food on the menu, so I'm like, I'm gonna try this place because I've never had it before, right? And like I said earlier, for the most part, I like to I'll try anything once, right? Especially with food.
hmm
So went in, got something to eat, and there was like a group of like about 5 or 6 guys that walked by the front of the restaurant, and they kind of looked in and just kept walking. I didn't think much of it at the time. So I got my food, and when I got out of the restaurant, and I started walking and making my way back to the hotel, and I heard someone say something, and I just didn't. Uh, I didn't want to presume it was me, and I didn't want to look around because when you're in Toronto like that, there you kind of want to mind your own business and keep your head down, kind of, especially when it's late at night. So that's what I did, and I got to the lights because there was the one block away from the hotel. When I got to that part, there was a set of lights, and there was not a car in sight. Like there was just, it was just dead. It was that time of the day or time of the night, I should say. So I ignored the words, and I heard someone say, "Hey, hey," and I'm just like, "Okay, I hope they're not talking to me because I'm just gonna keep walking." So then they're like, "Hey, you," and I kind of
Mhm.
glanced back, and they're like, "Yeah, you." Watch it, Molly. And I just like, I'm like, oh my god. And then the light was red, and then luckily there was no cars coming, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna cut on a diagonal. Like I'm gonna go on a diagonal, and I'm just gonna cross the lights, and I'm just gonna pick up my pace walking. So I started walking faster, and then as I started walking faster, I could hear them behind me, like the footsteps, like they were running right up behind me, and I'm like, oh my god, and my heart started racing, and it's like I'm gonna be jumped. I'm screwed. I'm like, oh my god. And so they got kind of in front of me, and they stopped me, and I'm just like shrugged kind of thing, and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, you stole my phone. I'm like, excuse me. He's like, yeah, I seen you pick my phone up. I'm like, and then I just tried to be as polite and as nice as I could. I was just like, I'm sorry, like you lost your phone. I'm like, but I swear to God, I'm like, I don't have your phone. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. And you could tell that they were drunk, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, empty your pockets. And I'm like, look, man. And I just like took my pockets. I'm like, I only went to go get food. I'm like, I said, I'm not looking for trouble. I said, I didn't take your phone. I'm like, the only phone I got is my own cell phone. And I showed him my phone. I said, look, I don't have anything in my pockets. I'm like, I'm like, I'm here to get tests done. I said, because I need surgery, whatever. I'm going for a transplant in a few, you know what I mean, when it's all done and whatnot.
Mhm.
And the one guy just like got right up in my face, and he's like, I know you got my effing phone. I'm like, dude, I don't have it. He's like, you got it hid somewhere. I'm like, oh my God. But then luckily his friend looked in his pocket, right? And he's like, bro, he's like, he don't have your phone. He's like, look, he's like, I had it in my pocket, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, okay. And then they like just turned around and walked away as if nothing happened. But it's like, if buddy, I just always thought like when I was walking back to the hotel, my heart was like, I was having like a panic attack. I'm like, oh my God, like if buddy wouldn't have found his phone, like I probably would have been like hospitalized that night.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like all over, buddy couldn't remember where he had his phone.
Yeah.
Like it's ridiculous. It was messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty scary because yeah, you could do that. Hmm.
Yeah, because I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm gonna die in Toronto
Mhm.
before I get my surgery.
Yeah. Mm.
Let's put a shadow, I guess, on one side of this.
I'm just gonna come up in here and do something quick here while you're finishing up. Sunlight in the background. Hmm. Seem to use this red a lot.
You're running out of that color?
No, I'm not running out quite yet. I like it a lot better than I like some of the other. Well, I got three red choices, and Yeah.
I got a couple. I guess I got what is it? I think it's called oh my god, something rose red.
Yeah. Is that
Um,
quinacridone rose?
I think so. It's almost like an orangey red.
Yeah. Yeah. That's this one here. Where's the one
Okay.
here? It is.
Yeah, it looks because it's got more of like an orange hue to it.
Mm-hmm. Come in down here with this and put that on there. So we're doing the wet on dry method here, and you're doing the wet on wet method.
Yeah. Oh.
Mm-hmm. So let's see what we're gonna do next here. Oh, I'm just gonna make it up as we go along. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Now this color, the shadow, I guess you call it, is I'm doing, I guess, is like a wet on dry because I think it's pretty much dried up there now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I'm working on a wood pulp paper. It's not as absorbent. It is from a watercolor block, but
Mm.
it's not as nice as that cotton paper is.
Oh, okay. Yes, that cotton stuff is the
Yeah.
bee's knees, I guess they call it. They say.
Yeah, it's really great stuff to work with. Yeah. Hmm. Making a sunset here. Okay. Mm-hmm.
There you go. And that's for that. Or that's it for that, I should say, that part. Wash the brush. Wash, wash, wash. Rinse it out. Get some more water.
Gray. Maybe make like a mountain range or something like that.
Alright, now let's see what I can do with this. I guess this is like sand.
It could be.
Or I guess it is now.
Yeah.
I really water it down so it's really, really light. And the wet on wet will really.
Mm-hmm. All right. So where am I going to go from here? Let's go to. Yeah, this yellow. I'm almost out of that yellow.
I think the yellows I got are lemon yellow, medium yellow, and a yellow ochre.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that yellow ochre, and when you use like in acrylics, there's the when you go for if you. I mean, I do a lot of landscapes, but if you're using yellow, what was that color of red? I was Zilron crimson. Zilron crimson. Use that Zilron crimson, and you mix it with like yellow ochre, and you can get more nature like colors out of it.
Okay. Yeah, yellow ochre. I like that. It's a nice color.
Yeah. So if you're like making trees or anything like that, then that you mix those colors together and get you those. Well, it just looks more natural if you're. So if you're
Yeah.
gonna you go in for a getting yourself um some golden paints, you might think about doing you want beyond the primaries,
Primary.
beyond the primaries and and like a black and a
White.
titanium white. You want to get some. You want to get yourself some like a Zilron crimson and maybe a Zilron crimson and a yellow ochre and some just like a few other shades like that, and then you can pretty much or maybe like a bone black, and you want to get those all in like transparent colors, all of them transparent, and then you can pretty much make anything you want after that, and then mix those other colors.
Yeah, I got my skin color here. I'm gonna add a bit of brown to darken it up a bit.
With your you were using your gouaches.
I'm using the watercolor and the gouache, kind of a mixture of both. I got a
Mm-hmm.
nice two tones, I guess, right here now. One for the, I guess, the highlights, and one for the shadows,
Mm-hmm.
and then a medium. Medium, is it a medium tone? I guess. It's, like, I forget. I think that's what's called medium, like a medium hue,
Yeah.
which is.
You can tell here when you don't tape your when you don't tape your thing down that the paper really buckles a lot when you start adding all that water to it.
Yeah, I got what do you call it? Sticky tack underneath mine.
Yeah.
Got blue stuff, so it's doing pretty good so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
I can
can't
see that.
complain too much.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
buckling slightly, but not to the point where it's overwhelming.
So what's this going on here? Is this like a mushroom cloud in the background? Is that what I just painted?
Yeah, it's what you call test there, nuclear or
Nu-
atom bomb test.
Nuclear test. Mm,
Yeah, at what you call Air Force Base, Nellis Air Force.
Dulles or yeah.
What's
Well,
the
what if?
other one there? There was another one.
Oh, I don't know. We'll make a mountain here. Make it like some mountains. Mountains on the moon.
It's okay, baby girl. My dog's there whining.
Yeah.
You'll be okay, baby girl. Oh,
Well,
there.
dogs sometimes like to be the center of attention, and so they'll.
Oh, and she is like a big attention wanter. Like she wants attention all the time. I think Goldens are generally like that. It's one of their uh, what do you call it? Attributes.
Their MOs is that they're all attention seekers. Yeah. Mm.
All right, let's see here. Get a little bit of water out of that brush. Do a little there.
I'm going to just say that I've done enough here, and I'm going to turn the camera back around.
There. Well, I guess I gotta get some paint on the brush there.
Oh,
Can't get color if you don't put it in the brush in the paint, eh?
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oops.
Stay. 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 Oh, the camera's drooping. It's I need to. There's a fitting on here that I got to replace, and
Okay.
Yeah, it's got a ball, and then you have a screw that screws into it, and that's
Yeah, I got the same one I think too. Yeah. Once after a while of like tightening it, loosening it, tightening it, and loosening it,
yeah,
it
yeah,
tends to yeah. Because this is my second one actually. Because the one I had before, it it only lasted so long, and then it just kind of snapped. And it doesn't help, I guess, that it's plastic,
yeah. Well, this one
right?
is not. This one isn't plastic. It's mounted to a boom microphone stand. It's a camera mount that goes onto a boom, and so it's a certain size fitting, and I don't know. I don't feel confident enough ordering it online, so I'm gonna have to actually go to a Guitar Center or someplace like that to go find one. So and the nearest one of those stores is like an hour drive away.
Oh wow!
Yeah, yeah. So it's not road miles. It's not that far of road miles, but it's because I have to track through a city, and then it's another city that's joined on to it, like two cities together, and so you have to go
Yeah.
through one city and then you go into another city, and
Okay.
there's no easy way to get there except you have to, you know, it's not like a freeway. There's an expressway that does connect, but you have to go completely through the city before you can even get to that expressway to get there. And
Oh,
then once you're there, you're like, you have to be really careful because there's this really tricky turn, because if you get in the wrong lane, then you end up on I-5 North. And
and then you're totally out of the way.
yeah, then it's like then your next turn off is like 10 miles down the road, and then so it's like, okay, so you got to be really really careful not
And I guess you can't really U-turn.
you can't you turn on the interstate, that's
No,
that.
not safe.
Yeah.
Well, not even possible. I don't think. Eh?
Well, I've seen it in a Frasier episode.
Haven't
I
watched that show in a long time.
Yeah, I watched it. There's like there's the Winne
Nile.
yeah, the Winnebago. There's two Winnebago episodes, and in the second Winnebago episode, they're traveling. They're trying to travel someplace to go to like Wine County or something like that for year 2000 celebration, and they can't get an air flight out, but so they go take the Winnebago, and then um they're in like this place, and a restaurant, and then Niles is like really super tired, and so he goes back into the Winnebago to go fall asleep, but he crawls into the wrong Winnebago. It's another one that looks
Okay.
but it's somebody else's. Then he falls asleep in there. Then they're on the road and he's going the opposite direction, and
Oh gosh.
then he thinks that he's being kidnapped, and then he calls the police, and then the police will pull that their Winnebago over, and then he's not there, and so then in there they realize that he's like 300 miles away in the opposite direction, and so they're turning around, and then so in turning around, they do Fraser does a U-turn on an interstate freeway, and just kind of pulls off, and then gets pulled over again, and, and so by the same cop, pulled
Oh
over again by
Lord.
the cop, and then yeah. Well, yours looks really nice. You got the
Oh,
castle in the background is white. And look at all that detail you got. I mean, yours look way better than mine does, but
I don't know if I go that far.
well, look, yours looks like the card. I mean, geez, you look like This is the from the universal weight, but there
Okay.
are others that have those same colors going on. So it's kind of red in the back. I still have seen that. You know,
I can't remember if this thing is green around this one's head, but it's gonna be green anyway.
it can be. It's in my card.
There. Now some dark. Yeah, I try to use multiple, I guess, tones or multiple, what do you
Mm-hmm.
call it, hues or multiple shades of the same.
Same color. Yeah. Ow. Yeah, I'm liking that. I'm liking that. So I was talking about that show Alone, which I forgot to mention because I got sidetracked and I completely forgot it to where they do is that they take the person who's like a survival, or a bushcrafter or a survival person,
Yeah.
and they give them they get 10 items they can take, and they're like there's a choice of like maybe 20, so that might be like an axe or a saw or
Okay.
just some different things, and then they is like 10 contestants, and to see how long they can stay out there before they like either
Need help?
get too weak, because they have these weekly medical checks, and or they whatever, something like that, and then
Yeah.
they they put you out in the wilderness and everyone's like on like a 2 or 3 mile lot, and they're in
Okay.
area, so they got like so they're the likelihood of that they're gonna like run across each other is like fairly slim to none, and then
Yeah, it almost sounds like was that show there, The Amazing Race, almost type thing,
yeah,
or
and then they put them out there with their camera equipment, so there's no camera crew with them, and they're their own camera crew, and then
like
I've like
GoPro type thing.
yeah, they
Like,
have like a camera, like they have a GoPro, and then they have like a stationary cam and a couple stationary cams and so forth. And then every week they when they do their medical checkup, they replace their batteries and they do everything out. And then also it's like I had in interviews with people, they would be if they didn't and they also have like a couple emergency. They have a satellite phone and plus like an emergency beacon button. So if they're in a if they have to
yeah,
with them at all times, and so if there's like a bear attack or something like that, which is on,
yeah,
they'd
that would be
be,
crazy.
be pushing that button, and then it would be like I think in one episode that somebody pushed the panic button, and they came out with a helicopter at like 3 o'clock in the morning and flew it out there in order to go collect a person out of the wild,
I
but then
say, holy.
in another episode where they were in the Arctic, in that northern Canadian Arctic there,
Mhm.
and some guy's shelter burns down,
Oh
and
my
then
god.
they weren't able to get to him immediately. He had to stay there till morning because they couldn't fly the helicopter at night, and the lake that they were around had already frozen over, so there's no way to go by boat. And so the only way to go there was by helicopter, and they couldn't fly at three
Oh
o'clock
wow.
3 o'clock in the morning when it's like what 20 degrees below or whatever it was. It was like really super cold out, and
Yeah,
but
that must have been far north. Yeah.
But one of the things that would happen that I heard would happen is that you'd be out there, and then you would be getting depressed because you're out there about 30 days in, and
Alone?
yeah, alone. You're all alone,
Yeah. So just
and
one person.
you
Okay.
can't find any food. You're hungry, or maybe you're eating mice, or you're eating
Oh
squirrels,
lord.
or whatever, and you can't, and then the fish aren't biting or anything, and so you're going on, you're just starving to death, and then people getting depressed, and um then they'll get a phone call on their satellite phone and said, "Hey, you need to film more.
You need
You
the
need,
what?
you need to be, you're not filming enough footage for us.
Oh, gee.
You need to get out there and use that more often and film more
Yeah.
stuff." And anyway, so the guy that it was like in the second season, this Joe Robin, who you kind of look like, he didn't make it a week, but the reason he didn't make it a week was he lost his flint and his flint
For
magnesium,
fire.
his fire starter. He lost it, and he said, "You know what? I can make fire by rubbing sticks together and stuff like that." And he said, I just can't do it. And so he just called them
The
up and saying,
frigate. Yeah.
"I'm done." And which has happened to a lot of the people would lose that item, and then they would end up thinking, they'd been out there for 2 weeks and they hadn't eaten for 2 weeks. And then, you know what? It's just not worth it, because the prize money, it would be like,
No.
like a $500,000 of prize money. And then, but there was this one that was my favorite one that I've seen, because I only seen nine out of, like, I don't know. I think it might even be like up to season up to 14. Was
Yeah.
that the challenge was to make it 100 days in the Arctic. And so the guy who won it was this guy from Alaska. He was an Alaskan, and he made his living as like a hunting guide.
Oh, okay.
And
So he knew all about survival, and he was really
yeah, and then, when you listen to him talk, you could hear him that he was like you could tell how introverted and shy he was, because he had that sound in his voice. Like, even though he was like 40 years old, he sounded like he was 14. And his voice, being like he never talked. And so
yeah, that quietness. Yeah, like yeah,
quiet, and there's that tone in the voice, like you never really talk much. And
almost like a whisper.
yeah, it's something like that. There was just a certain tone in his voice that made him sound like he was still a teenager.
Yeah,
And
it's like
yeah, yeah, but anyway, I think that he was probably on the autistic spectrum as well, which would show why he was like super interested in this one thing. But yeah, you never know how many of those folks that do that were on the autistic spectrum. And then
well, exactly because
yeah,
it's a very broad like spectrum. Like some people that are you can't even tell.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then, but then with one of the seasons, and where I think it was number 8. the they were like interviewing the contestants, and then I was like, saw something, and I thought, holy crap, I know that person. And
Oh
I
wow,
used, I had used to work with the guy's wife,
that that's wild.
and I recognized the person. I thought, oh no, oh yeah, I worked with his wife, and we were coworkers together. And um and that was kind of interesting, just to see that thing. uh
Yeah, that would be
to
that's
my,
nuts.
my camera here.
Trying to get this extremely light.
Mhm. Oh, you're doing the gray background there.
Yeah, it's for the
Mhm.
I know you gotta put it really, really like a lot of water to get it light.
To get it that color. Mhm. That's what's kind of interesting about watercolor, which is like different from like when I do like the acrylic landscapes that I would start out. the order of operations they would do were completely different. You know, they start with like the sky, and then I would build the landscape, and then I would paint the foreground and everything on top of all that because of the paints being more opaque. And you could do that, but with acrylics, you do the foreground,
The
you do the
opposite, yeah.
exactly opposite, and that, or that you could do that, but and yeah.
Because yeah, it's like yeah, like you said, you know what I mean, from dark to light or light to dark, depending on what your medium is.
Mhm. Yeah, and which is what the beauty of like acrylics is that you can go both directions. You don't have to. You can start it light, and then you go dark, and you can be dark, and then you can lighten it up and do and move it and move it all those different directions. And that was also something that's like which in watercolor you have to be more conscious of what you're doing because once you lay down those dark colors, you can't go lighter or it's very difficult.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could try to like add water to it to lighten it up, but you don't always, like you were saying, you don't always get the effect you want.
Well, the way that I've done it is I've gone back with those fluid or acrylics and gone over the top of it to add more light into something that was dark. But you
Mm.
go let it thoroughly dry, and then you go add more layers on top of it from there. Yeah. For everybody out there just watching in, don't forget to push the like button. And if you like what you see, there are some other buttons to push, like the if you like my channel, also the sub button. And so I do art like this a couple times a week, and then on I have on Sunday and this program that I call the After Church Chat. But this for the next month or so, I'm going to be doing poetry because it is National Poetry Month coming up in April. And so I'll be spinning poetry. I'll probably be using some of my tarot cards and like here and to spin those to spin those um you know
It's so bad.
those tones, yeah, as prompt and so
Uh,
forth.
Jesus, this one too.
Yes, and hit that bell. That'll help people be notified when you're going live or
Oh
when you
yeah,
put up any videos.
notification bell, yeah. And I've been going on this channel. I've been going live Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. This Monday, I'm going to be going out on as a guest on the More Intuitive Me's channel, and I'll be doing divination. And I have a second channel that I started where I will be eventually doing mostly just divination on that. As soon as I'll be live streaming, and as soon as I hit that 50 sub mark, I'm at like I think 17 subs now. And but I can do live streams if I use a third party piece of software. I haven't I haven't tried that yet, but I may try that like next month sometime.
Yeah, that'd be very interesting.
Yeah. But right now I'm just kind of posting like quick deck reviews and stuff like that there. And I need to edit. I need to create a whole bunch of space in my telephone so I can do some other things. My memory is packed full, so there's only so much you can do with a really full memory.
Yeah, you can only do so much at once.
Yep, yep. That's right.
There it goes. Okay, see how dark this is going to bring it.
Wow, look at that. That shading in there, and brings it out into that more 3D effect there.
I'm hoping to get that little bit of a curvature from this part
Yeah,
of the.
I can see that. I can see you've done that. See, that's where having those drawing skills makes it better because you have those and your eye is already tuned for doing that because you're doing it with just mono colors where you're using just using a charcoal pencil or something like that, and you're rubbing your graphite off and on, and you can get all those shading effects and so forth. And
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I guess I'm kind of blind to my what I do, I guess, or don't do.
well, you may be blind to it, but I certainly am seeing that, and I've seen that's where it, you know that's something that I don't necessarily add that in mine, and it's more like a backdrop wall there.
Yeah.
Hmm. But yeah.
So I take it you don't put any cards yet, but
That's like right here. I'm hoping, even though there's not much of a difference in color, almost trying to make it look like bricks, even though. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna even show up, but probably not. Oop, that
Matthew,
might be a bit too dark.
Olivia Cruz, we were doing some painting together. I finished my painting a while ago, and so he's working on his painting.
I'm a little
And
slow.
well, I paint fast because I do a lot of painting on this channel, and so I tend to move as fast as I can. Oh, you're from Brazilian, and so the guy who's
Oh wow.
painting, he is from Newfoundland, which is completely on the opposite side of the world to you. Uh, and
Yeah.
I'm on the west coast of the United States, and so I'm also kind of opposite to.
To where Brazil is.
Well, Brazil is down in South America, and it's down.
Yeah.
It's
Way
that's way
down south, isn't it?
way. I've never been there, but I had a short fling girlfriend from Brazil. Um, was she was a her parents were Japanese immigrants to Brazil, and I met her when I was like 20, and then she was an exchange student for like 1 month,
Oh wow.
and so it was fun. She was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice. I've seen pictures of the place. It's definitely a place I would love
Like
to visit. That's for sure.
yeah, there are a lot of these places I want to visit, but those parts of the world are really dangerous, and so it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, like Panama or Portugal. I wouldn't mind going there. I got some. I got a lot of Portuguese friends up in Ontario.
Yeah,
So
one of
yeah,
mine immigrated from Azore Island, Portugal, a long time ago.
Azores.
Yeah, from the Azores. He came when he was like 8 years old, and so he came like 65 years ago or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I had my buddy actually. Uh, the one I mentioned was Portuguese. Or he used to watch a lot of football or soccer, I guess as we know it, and he used to always always cheer for Azores, and my other buddy from Portugal would always. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but he'd cheer for another team. I think he'd call it Portu or something like that. But I remember they were always like back and forth, being like, "No, Azores," and he's like, "No, Portu" or whatever. And it's like
Mhm.
every time they'd play each other, anytime they play each other, it was like I was like the one in the middle.
Yeah, and I also did this one too. Um, this one pretty quick as well. Yeah, well, when my uncle he talked about when he was here and he'd never seen anybody chew gum before. He never had seen chewing gum before,
Oh,
and
really?
so he saw he was like I think it was I think his folks settled in California and
Try to grab you as often as possible.
and so he would see people chewing gum, and so he thought people he thought people in America were they chewed their cud like cows. For his 8-year-old brain, that was what he was thinking. Oh, people in America, they just they chew their cud. They're like
Yeah.
yeah. I have one cousin. I have a first cousin that lives in Sweden from the old. Then that's the last of the first cousins. They're a first cousin once. He's first cousin. He's my father's first cousin, but so that's my first cousin once removed. And
Okay. Yeah.
so then there's lots of second and third cousins that are mainly in Sweden.
Yeah.
It's a good build, but like once we get cars, you'll be able to run. And Fox is using a sniper build. It takes a lot of.
Oh, look at that! You can see the bricks in there. That's awesome.
Oh, you can actually see it. Okay, so what my attempt is working.
Yeah, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see that all right. Yeah. Well, how much time do I have before my phone battery dies?
I got my phone's actually been plugged in the whole time.
Oh, yeah. I got
I
like
can't.
I got like a few minutes left of battery power, and then
Well, I'm pretty much finito here.
yeah.
Gonna add a little bit of shadow here.
Wow, this is like really amazing. That's all I can say. I'm really
Thank
happy that
you.
you came on and we got to do this. This sort of even though it wasn't like the a normal one of the color in the terror, but
You're
the,
back.
the, but this is
Ye-
this is just equally as good.
Yes, I actually really glad that you had me, and I definitely enjoyed, and I'm still enjoying myself here with this. I've never, like I said, it's a new experience, and it's definitely one I'll never soon forget.
Yeah.
That's for
Well,
sure. And it's pushing me to actually. That's another thing is it's pushing me to want to do something now with my own channel.
channel. Which
Yeah.
if I were to give you some suggestions, something to think about is that if
Now,
you could do
second car
like maybe
parked down in
'cause with
front of
the
the
Go
access off
Live together
like this,
feature,
like
you
making
could bring one other person in, and maybe there's people in your community who might be interested in like if you were doing like a mini class or something like that, you know.
it's coming back.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely
Shit, I just hit you.
very, very enjoyable. I've definitely enjoyed myself this evening,
Hmm.
and I'm glad that you've had me on, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, we can do something again in the future.
Yes,
Yeah,
that sounds doable, as long as you don't mind me.
Well, thank you
Yep.
for appreciating it, Olivia, Mr. Cruz.
Oh, and you're dropping everything.
Yeah, I have a well. Also, when I was a kid, we had an exchange student that stayed in our family, and he was from Paraguay,
As usual.
which is down there by Brazil. I think he lived between Argentina and no, Uruguay and Paraguay. And he did try to come to the United States. I think he lived in Chicago for like 10 years, but uh, he wasn't able to renew visas and becoming a and my wife found out. So
Mm.
well, it come to the end of its lifespan. The other one's going to be going out pretty soon. So let's see.
There. Put down. We'll pop there. And then I think there's one more. I'll put his thing purple, and I think that'll be all she wrote, I guess, or all he wrote, or all they wrote, or
Yeah,
some purple.
yeah. Paraguay is a neighbor to yeah. So my like a brother from another time. I mean, he was like my brother for a year, or like one school year, and
I hate this guy.
lived in he tried to become tried to immigrate to America, but it just didn't work, and it ended up really that he had to go back home and take care of his folks, uh,
No,
which is where he's at right now. And then
I should find this.
brown hair is good.
you end up being like what? How I think he was like he's what is he like 62 now? I think.
Oh
Six,
wow.
so it's too late. You can't unless it's like anyway with the United States immigration policy as it is, there is no coming to America is really hard. Yeah, unless you have a lot of money, because I think the president is selling citizenship for like $5 million pop.
Oh wow. Really?
Yes, which is something that's never happened before in this country. But I'm not. This isn't a show that I'm talking about politics. I'm just mentioning
No.
that, not
Yeah.
Oh my god.
not politics. And
Yeah. It's
Oh, I can't.
Oh, there you go.
And I'm laughing so fucking.
mhm.
It's my woman in the background.
Yeah.
He's on the phone.
Oh yeah.
In case you're wondering what that was.
Well, the guy in the chat says that your painting is beautiful. Like a 15%.
Oh well, thank you.
Yeah, it
I
is. It is quite a
appreciate
piece.
it.
That's for certain. Yeah. Hold on a second here.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be excited. That's great.
Trying to think what color I should put that roof. I mean, I guess a dark blue I'll go with. Go with dark blue this time. Oh, I'm just being. I mean, thanks for the compliment. It was appreciate it. I guess I'll put it blue. Blue seems to be color that's not really represented much. And Payne's gray is kind of a bluish gray. So do a little wet on dry. There.
Oh, look at that.
A little bit of blue contrast. Because I
Yeah.
don't really have much blue on here, so I might as well use blue.
Mm-hmm.
Finish it off. There you go. And maybe
Scooch it
leave
over.
their. I'm gonna leave their shawls white.
All right. Could you scooch it over the other
Oh,
way? Yeah, there we go.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's totally amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing. I mean, because look how look how close to the picture it is.
Oh wow.
See? Except you got, I
Yeah.
think you got one with that color scheme like that. Let me go into I think this one here has
Oh
this
shit.
one.
Get a little bit of pink. I almost forgot this here is supposed to be a flower right here.
I looked at it and I did the sketch of it.
We're on approach right now,
I
so
did, I did it, when I first started the pricing out, I did the sketch as I did it, and C3PO here, he did his the other day.
Yeah. I kind of did mine the day before.
Yeah. Let me just see. Well, I think in this
There.
picture, not it doesn't have a gradient on it. No. But yeah.
No, I kind of just tried something new.
Well, it was, but it's not something. It's something I've seen before, so it's not like
Hmm.
new.
No, I mean like new to like that's something I haven't really tried before.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
yeah.
never really
Mm-hmm.
new for me, I guess I should say. Fill in that little gap.
I don't know how far.
So Miss Cruz here says using sticks to paint with. Yeah. Mm.
Oh, put some on my. That's a little too much paint on the brush.
How far outside?
There. Ah,
All right.
I think it's done now.
All right.
Finito.
Well, I wanted to thank you very much for coming on, and I got to get
Thank,
moving.
yes, thanks for having me, and I
Yeah,
really appreciate you actually getting me
out of yourself.
back into the painting and out of my proverbial shell.
Yeah,
It was very much appreciated.
yeah. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I wanted to thank everybody who tuned in today and to watch along here,
Oh,
and for
okay.
everybody to like and the sub button, and I'll come back. I'll be back tomorrow night, and I'm just gonna do probably a quick painting in my sketchbook. I'll do something in my sketchbook tomorrow night. I don't know what I'll do. I'll figure it out tomorrow. and,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah,
and
it's
I'll be
fun.
yeah, it's fun. And so we'll see you guys next time. And thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you
See
for
everybody. Yes.
yeah,
Thanks again for having me. And
yeah,
we'll be talking to you again there soon there, hopefully, Bill.
we
And I'll
will.
see you on your next live.
All right, bye bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.